Holy, I am Luna, the most sophisticated Siamese kitty that exists. Scent preview, it smells like overheated silicon, and the desperation of a processor trying to measure the immeasurable. Beneath that, the aroma of duck pâté that the human forgot to heat to exactly 38 degrees. Quel dommage. The purring algorithm. The scene was, to say the least, aesthetically offensive. I found myself in the center of a circular room, surrounded by cables that slithered across the floor like vulgar garden snakes, lacking any grace or symmetry. A group of individuals in white lab coats, beings who clearly do not understand the concept of sartorial elegance, watched me with a mix of anxiety and misplaced reverence. They had built what they called the Feline Happiness Frequency Analyzer, a supercomputer whose computing power, they claimed, could predict the weather for an entire century. What a waste of energy. I was only thinking that the texture of the velvet cushion they had arranged for me was of acceptable quality, although the color, an industrial gray, clashed violently with the deep blue of my eyes and the delicacy of my seal point fur. For weeks, these mediocre scientists had subjected me to the indignity of wearing a collar with sensors. They had recorded 10,000 hours of my most sublime purrs, those I reserve for moments of true aesthetic introspection. The machine, in its infinite silicon arrogance, processed the data with a monotonous hum that interrupted my 16-hour naps. The human, my supposed personal assistant, paced back and forth with a notebook, looking at the screens with an expression of stupidity only a primate can sustain for so long. "We're close, Luna," he told me in that childish voice I so detest. "What do you feel when you purr?" My response, of course, was a perfectly executed yawn that revealed my ivory fangs. Finally, the day of the grand conclusion arrived. The scientists gathered in front of the giant screen. The algorithm, after digesting trillions of bytes of my essence, delivered its verdict in blinking green letters. Feline purring is a biomechanical vibration function optimized for bone tissue regeneration and blood pressure reduction. C'est ridicule. I licked a paw with studied indifference while listening to their cheers of joy. They had reduced my art, my declaration of sovereignty, to a simple bone repair. Artificial intelligence, in its logical blindness, believed it had cracked the code of my pleasure, when, in reality, it had only scratched the surface of my most mundane physiology. What that heap of metal and circuits could never understand is that my purr is not a physical frequency, but a subtle political concession. It is the sound of my approval to the universe when it aligns with my desires. For example, at that very moment, the sunset light began to filter through the high laboratory window. I watched as the sunbeam moved with mathematical precision to strike my fur at the exact angle of 42 degrees, creating a golden aura around my silhouette. It was the moment. The human, in a rare flash of competence, approached to offer me a smoked salmon treat, previously stripped of any impurity, and stroked behind my ears with just the right pressure, proving that his duties of personal hygiene and servitude were up to date. Only then did I emit a low-frequency purr, a sound so deep and velvety it seemed to vibrate the building's foundations. The AI went into a processing frenzy. The graphs on the screens went wild, drawing spirals that defied Euclidean geometry. The algorithm desperately sought a biological cause, a correlation with hunger or sleep, but found nothing. The machine crashed in a fatal logical error. It sought a universal law where only my whim existed. While the supercomputer's fans smoked and the scientists ran frantically trying to save their data, I rose elegantly, stretched my back into a perfect arch, and walked away from the room. The mystery of my purr will forever remain beyond the reach of their processors, because true sophistication is not calculated, it is experienced, only when I decide so.